Welcome to the Bookroom Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Today, we are strapping ourselves into the centrifuge for a deep dive into Andy Weir's sci-fi thriller, Project Hail Mary. Now, if you've read The Martian, you know Weir's style. He loves smart people using math to solve impossible problems. But this one? This one feels different. The stakes are, well, everything.
Exactly. We're talking about the extinction of the entire human race. It creates this incredibly intense atmosphere right from page one. And you're right, it's not just another survival story.
No.
Project Hail Mary's a mystery, it's a first contact story, and honestly, it's a buddy comedy all rolled into one.
And the way Weir kicks it off is just, it's brilliant. He doesn't start with the global panic. He starts small. So let's set the scene. You open the book and you're in a round white room.
It's a classic opening, but with this neurological twist. The main character wakes up, he's hooked up to all these tubes, electrodes everywhere. And the scariest part,
He has no idea who he is.
total amnesia, a complete blank slate. He doesn't know his name, where he is, anything.
And this part is weirdly kind of funny. A computer voice keeps asking him the simple calibration question, what is 2 plus 2?
Right, a cognitive test. And he knows the answer is 4. The math part of his brain is working. But when he tries to speak, to tell the robotic arm to get away from him,
Nothing. His brain and his mouth are not on speaking terms yet. He tries to say, leave me alone, and it just comes out as LRMLN.
LRMLN. Such a perfect, frustrating human moment. But that humor,
Yeah,
it doesn't last long.
not at all. Once he gets the tubes out, which is described in pretty graphic detail, by the way he looks around, and he sees 2 other beds.
And this is where the dread really sets in.
Yeah.
The other 2 people in the room are dead, and not recently dead. They're desiccated,
Yeah.
mummified.
Yeah.
And that's the first huge clue. That implies a sterile environment, and a lot of time has passed. He's not in a hospital on Earth.
Exactly. He's the sole survivor of something. And as he starts moving around, his memories flicker back in these flashes. He remembers his name is Ryland Grace. And the real kicker, he remembers he's a junior high science teacher.
Which is the big question, right?
Yeah.
Why is a middle school teacher waking up on a high-tech spaceship next to 2 dead astronauts? You'd expect, I don't know, a fighter pilot.
Not the guy who teaches kids about baking soda volcanoes. So to understand that, we have to go into the flashbacks and look at the threat itself. This is astrophage,
Astrophage. It sounds intense, and it is. It literally means star eater.
which is not good.
It's a terrifying concept. It's a microbe, a single-celled organism that lives on the surface of stars. It absorbs thermal energy from the sun to reproduce.
So these little bugs are literally eating the sun's energy.
They're eating the sun's energy, converting it to mass, and then using neutrinos to propel themselves to Venus to breed more. Grace is the one who discovers this migration path. He calls it the Petrova line.
And the result is that our sun is getting dimmer.
Dimmer and colder. The models predicted a global ice age, mass extinction, billions of deaths. The clock was ticking fast.
And this brings us to the mission. Scientists realized all the stars in our neighborhood were dimming, except for one. Tau Ceti is the anomaly. So the mission for this ship, the Hail Mary, is basically a suicide run. Get a Tau Ceti, figure out why it's immune, and send the data back home.
And the person who makes this all happen is Eva Strat. She's a force of nature.
She is terrifying. Strat is given absolute authority, immunity from all laws, an unlimited budget. Her only mandate is save the species, period.
And she is brutally effective. The example that always gets me is the Antarctica plan. It sounds like something a Bond villain would cook up.
Oh, yeah. She needs to buy the Hail Mary mission more time, so she decides to, intentionally cause massive global warming.
She nukes Antarctica.
She nukes Antarctica to melt the ice caps and release trapped methane into the atmosphere.
Methane's a powerful greenhouse gas. So she's creating a greenhouse effect on purpose to counteract the cooling sun. It's an ecological catastrophe, but it buys humanity a few more years. It just shows the level of desperation.
Okay, so back to Grace. He's on the ship. He's at Tau Ceti. He's totally alone. And then the radar picks something up.
And this is where the whole novel pivots. It goes from a solo survival story to a first contact story.
There's another ship out there, and it is definitely not human.
The Blippe. And the fascinating thing is, it's using the same fuel. It's running on astrophage. This means another species is facing the exact same problem.
And this is how we meet Rocky. I have to say, the creature design here is just so creative. He's not some guy in a rubber suit.
Not at all. Rocky's from a planet with crushing gravity and a hot ammonia atmosphere. He looked like a 5-legged spider made of rock about the size of a big dog. He doesn't have eyes. He sees with echolocation.
Which makes their first meeting so complicated they can't even be in the same room. Rocky's air would kill Grace, and Grace's air would literally freeze and boil Rocky.
So they have to build this specialized barrier between their ships. But the real problem is the language barrier. There's no universal translator.
I loved this part. It's pure logic. Rocky communicates with musical chords. So Grace, being a scientist, just opens up a spreadsheet.
Yes. He maps the musical tones. They start with math. 1 beep for 1, 2 for 2. Then elements on the periodic table. He literally builds an English to Iridian dictionary in Excel.
And through this spreadsheet, they become friends. It's the best buddy-cop dynamic I've read in a long time.
It really is. They bond because they're both sole survivors. Rocky's crew died from radiation, something his species didn't even understand.
And Rocky is just so charming for a rock spider. Like, he watches Grace sleep, which at first totally freaks Grace out.
But it's a cultural thing. For Iridians, sleeping is vulnerable. Someone you trust watches over you. It's Rocky's way of saying, I've got your back.
And the jazz hands.
Ah, yes. When he's excited, he wiggles his claws, and Grace calls it jazz hands. And his catchphrase is, amaze. And good, good, good. It just makes him so endearing.
So they've got their bromance going. Now they have to save 2 solar systems. They figure out the immunity is coming from a planet orbiting Tau Ceti, which they name Adrian.
The logic is sound. If astrophages is everywhere but the star's not dimming, something on planet Adrian must be eating it. Yeah. A predator.
So they have to find the thing that eats the thing that's eating the stars.
Exactly. They need to get a sample of this predator, which Grace calls Tomiba, but it lives deep in Adrian's atmosphere.
This scene had me on the edge of my seat. The chain maneuver. They basically dip the ship into the atmosphere on a long tether.
It's incredibly dangerous. The heat, the drag, and of course it goes wrong. The ship starts tumbling. The G-forces are crushing Grace. He's about to black out.
And Rocky saves him. We have to remember, Rocky is immensely strong because of his high-gravity world, but oxygen is poison to him.
In this amazing moment of self-sacrifice, Rocky forces his way into Grace's part of the ship. He drags Grace to safety, but he gets horrific burns from the oxygen atmosphere. He literally cooks himself to save his friend.
It just completely elevates their friendship. It's not just cooperation anymore. Rocky almost dies, but they get the sample. They have the cure.
But, you know, biology is never that simple. They start breeding the Tomiba, and then disaster.
A containment breach.
The Tomiba gets loose on the Hail Mary, and what does it eat?
Astrophage.
And what's their fuel made of?
Astrophage. Oh, no.
It's catastrophe. The cure is eating their only way home. They're completely stranded.
But being geniuses, they figure it out. They breed a nitrogen-resistant strain that lets them manage the fuel situation. They're ready to send the cure home on these little probes they call beetles. Mission accomplished.
Almost. Just as they're finishing up, Grace's memory finally unlocks completely. We get the last devastating flashback.
Oh, this twist! It hit me like a truck. The whole book, we assume Grace is this nodal volunteer who stepped up to be a hero.
And the truth is the absolute opposite. The original scientist died in an accident.
Yeah.
Strat needed Grace. He was the only one left who could do the job and survive the coma.
And he said no.
He didn't just say no, he refused. He threatened to sabotage the whole thing. He was terrified. His exact words were, "I will not die alone in space."
So Strat.
She had him drugged, forcibly sedated, dragged onto the ship unconscious. He isn't a hero. He's a conscript, a coward who was kidnapped to save the world.
That changes everything you've just read, all that bravery on the ship. It feels different now.
It's the central conflict, isn't it? Does intent matter if the result is the same? But it sets up his final choice perfectly. He gets a chance to truly redeem himself, not for Earth, for Rocky.
Right. So they part ways. Rocky heads home. Grace sends the beetles back to Earth. He's basically accepted he's going to die out there. But then he looks at the data one last time.
And he spots a fatal flaw. That nitrogen-resistant Tomiba they bred. It has a side effect. It can eat through xenonite.
Which is the material Rocky's ship is made of, including his fuel tanks.
Exactly. The cure Grace gave his friend is going to eat Rocky's fuel tanks from the inside out. Rocky will be stranded and die, and his whole species will go extinct.
And this is the choice. Earth is saved. He can just sit there. Or he can turn the ship around to save his friend.
But if he does that, he burns the rest of his fuel. The math is absolute. If he saves Rocky, Ryland Grace can never go home.
And the man who refused to go? The man Strat called a coward?
He turns the ship around. He finally truly volunteers. He chooses exile to save his friend.
The reunion is so perfect. He finds Rocky's ship, and Rocky thinks he's hallucinating. And when Grace comes over the radio, Rocky just goes happy, happy, happy.
It's this beautiful validation. They go to Arid together.
Which brings us to the epilogue. Years later, Grace is living on Arid.
And it's harsh. The gravity is painful, the air is poisoned, the food is this awful mush.
But he has access to their sensors. And one day, he checks on our son Saul.
And it's bright again. The dimming stopped. The Beatles made it home. Humanity survived.
And what's Grace doing? He's not just sitting around.
He's back in a classroom. He's teaching physics to a class of young Iridians.
Little spider kids.
It's the perfect full circle. He started as a teacher, and he ends as a teacher, just on the other side of the galaxy. He found his fulfillment.
So, wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway from Project Hail Mary?
I think it's about cooperation, and that science and empathy, together, are our best tools for survival.
And that heroism isn't something you are, it's something you do. You can be a coward one day and a savior the next. It's about the choice you make when it really counts.
Exactly. Strat may have forced him to the starting line, but Grace chose how he crossed the finish line.
That's a powerful thought. Well, that's Project Hail Mary, a masterclass in science, friendship, and ultimate sacrifice.
It really is. And it leaves us with something for you to think about. We all say we'd do anything to save the world. But if you were Grace, knowing you could save everyone but you'd never see home again, would you have turned the ship around?
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.